March 19th of this year was the vernal equinox, the arrival of spring. And what better way to celebrate the abundance spring brings than by gardening? During the Klamath Promise Neighborhood's week-long celebration of their many community partnerships, the Del Norte and adjacent tribal lands Community Food Council held its own celebration for the first day of spring, with a garden party at the Food Forest, next to the College of the Redwoods campus in Crescent City. Community members of all levels of expertise were welcome to learn and share gardening skills firsthand.
Redwood Voice was on the ground to find out more about the food forest and expand our gardening knowledge. We scoped out the strawberry starters, frolicked through the native flowers, and eventually made our way to Master Gardener Angela Gray, who's in charge of keeping this plot of produce thriving. We want to know all about the work the food forest has been doing to spread cultivation education to the community during this garden party.
Today we're focusing on seeds of all kinds because it's a great time to start seeds for your summer garden. So in the hoop house we have some seed starting happening. We're growing some peas and some beets and Swiss chard. We're going to take a risk and try planting some flowers as well. It might be a little too early for them, but we're going to hope. And we also have some lettuce and cauliflower and broccoli that we're starting. And then we're also running a seed ball workshop. So that's sort of a little bit of guerrilla gardening where you take seeds and form them into a clay ball where you add a little bit of compost and then you let it dry and you can throw that out into different areas to allow it to self-germinate in the weather that we have. It's a great way to sort of convert meadows into more productive areas that have different diversity in them. So yeah, it's pretty neat.
The Food Forest is one of the many programs making a difference through the Klamath Promise Neighborhood. Angela talked about a recent produce project involving youth that was a total success.
Yeah, we're really excited to be part of the Klamath Promise Neighborhood initiative. That is the funding that we're receiving to run our programming here at the Food Forest. We run summer camps for kids in the summer, obviously, and then we also are available for field trips and tours for any of the educational institutions or just the general public. I've worked with all kinds of folks throughout our community. It's been really fun to be in this role. Recently, we just did a project with the high school where we had the ag students come out and learn how to plant bare root strawberries, and then they were able to take those strawberries and sell them at a fundraiser, which was actually part of the KPN Celebration Week. We had a seed and plant exchange just this last Saturday, and so those students were able to take the strawberry plants now, not just the bare roots, and take them over to the fairgrounds and sell them. So it was pretty exciting, and they got to learn the value of sort of creating an enterprise from the work that you do in farming and gardening, you know. So yeah, it's pretty neat, the stuff that the Food Forest gets to support.
Since you guys are funded through KPN, with the funding, what do you guys plan to do with it in the future, if you have any idea?
So we've been using a lot of the funding to run our summer camps and expand them. So this year we're actually taking our summer camps to Klamath, since the grant that we're working for is called Klamath Promise Neighborhood. We decided that we should take some of our programming over to Klamath. So we'll be running 2 weeks of summer camp, one in partnership with the Boys and Girls Club and the other one just as a community offering. And we're partnering with the Yurok Food Sovereignty team to bring in a bunch of really awesome cultural activities for the kids there in Klamath, and so that they can connect to people in their community.
As you're working with our local tribes, how are you bringing native culture into the garden?
Well, we have a bunch of native traditional foods that are all throughout the food forest. So we're not just planting annuals here, we're also growing native food and food plants. And then we also work really closely with the tribes. So we've built strong relationships with both the Yurok and the Tolowa Diné Nation. And another way that we celebrate that is the Food Forest has a Tolowa name since it's on Tolowa land. So we're not just in the Crescent City Food Forest, we're here at the Ta'atdun Chene Tetum, which is Crescent City Tree Garden in Tolowa. So that's another way that we weave in our ancestral native roots into the food forest.
Why is it important to know how to garden at all ages? And how do you get people excited to learn about gardening?
So I feel like when you learn to grow food, specifically, you're sort of embracing your birthright. It's everyone's birthright to have this knowledge. And so that's a big reason why I feel so passionate about sharing it, because whether or not you use it for the rest of your life, say you learn about starting seeds when you're in 5th grade, and maybe you don't use that knowledge until you're 40 and your grocery bill gets really high and you realize, oh, I need to do something about this. And you remember, oh, that's right, I learned how to do that when I was a kid. And so then maybe you start your garden then. But it's knowledge that can't be taken away from you. It's knowledge that you get to have the rest of your life. And how you get people excited is just by exposing them to it, just by giving them the tools to do it themselves. We're curious creatures, and again, this is in our DNA. It's not even something that's in our minds, but it's in our DNA to grow food, to play in the dirt, to start seeds, to tend the earth. It's something our ancestors have been doing for thousands and thousands of years. So something inside you sort of wakes up when that knowledge starts to come online.
Did you know that the Food Forest and the Del Norte and adjacent tribal lands Community Food Council go hand in hand? We asked Donatl Community Food Council Program Manager, Aya Mahan, what she loves about gardening, and learned how these two resources work together.
Today I just came out to support our food forest and our volunteer day, as well as to celebrate the first day of spring. And we had a generous donation. Someone brought by a bunch of Swiss chard that they were transplanting from their garden. And so I'm planting it here in Hugel 6 of our food forest. My favorite part about gardening is taking a minute to get my hands dirty and connect to the earth, to feel the soil, to listen to the plants, and just to take a little bit of quiet time. And I think another huge part that I love is the end product of being able to harvest food as well and eat fresh, nutritious food that you've watched grow.
What is the significance in a garden that can bring people together? And how has the KPN been a part of that?
Yeah, I think that the garden is a great place to bring people together. I think we can all agree that we want to eat good food and healthy food that's going to nourish us. And I think that it's a great opportunity to bring people together. We just had our seed and plant exchange this last week where we had free seeds to offer the community as well as plants. We had close to 500 people attend, and the community really did all show up, and it was great. It was a great opportunity to bring people together. I think that the KPN funding is amazing and involving all ages in the forest, starting with as young as preschool and giving them opportunities to learn how to grow food. And that's something that we all should know and have in our back pocket, is how we can plant a seed and watch it grow. And then also, not only that, but creating opportunities for our youth to get involved in agriculture and utilize that as a career pathway to support their families.
Is there any advice you could give to first-time gardeners out there?
Yeah, I would say don't be afraid to get your hands dirty and experiment. The garden is a great place to experiment and enjoy yourself, and be patient, because it takes time to grow food and to grow plants. And from the time it starts as a seed to when it's on your dinner plate, sometimes takes many months. And so be patient and stick with it. And we all fail, so if something dies, it's not the end of the world. Just start again.
Aya and Angela have actually been teaching a 6-week beginner gardening class through a Seed to Supper workshop series, where participants learn to plan, plant, and care for their backyard gardens. 2 of the classes are hands-on, taught right here at the Food Forest. What else does the DNATL Community Food Council have in store?
Also, we are having an upcoming speaker series. It's the second part of a 2-part series, and that's going to focus on career pathways in agriculture. And we're partnering with the high school ag students as well as College of the Redwoods, and inviting our youth and students to explore different agricultural pathways. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we'll also have our Harvest Festival coming up in September to celebrate Local Food Month. and I'm sure we'll have a lot more other workshops coming up as well.
It was great seeing how much the food forest has grown and the love and care that's been poured into it since it first started. But the fun hasn't stopped with this garden party. You're invited to come every Tuesday from 2 to 5 and join on the tilling, planting, and harvesting. Angela and the food forest always needs your help.
I just want to say that, the Community Food Council is working hard to sort of advance the food culture here in our community and to empower people to grow their own food. And so that's another place. This place is another way that we support that by having this living laboratory where people can experiment, they can try things out hands-on. And every Tuesday from 2 to 5, we're running this volunteer time for anybody in the community that wants to come.
Check out our channel for more Klamath Promise Neighborhood content. We're covering many of the events that went on during this awesome week. For Redwood Voice, I'm Monique Camarena.
And I'm Bryce Evans.